Notah Begay, Golf Channel analyst and a former teammate of Tiger's in college. Always been great with us, straight shooter. Notah, help me understand that with Tiger. If you know it's going to cause pain, you just had back surgery, and you're still trying to swing 122 miles an hour.
Well, athletes have never been accused of being the smartest people on earth at times.
Okay.
And this is one of those cases where Tiger has to take a step back and evaluate how he wants to approach this final chapter in his career. Does he want to continue to try and do things the old way, which apparently definitely are not working? It's very evident. You don't have to be a golf analyst that watches golf like myself all the time to figure that one out. I mean, when you can't finish tournaments and you can't break 80 in certain events, and you're having difficulty around the greens, well, this is professional golf, and it doesn't take pity on anyone, even Tiger Woods. So I think that a reevaluation period needs to sort of be implemented so that he can figure out, okay, I'm not going to overpower these golf courses. I got to use my finesse and technique and experience and try and do it that way.
I see doubt there, Notah. I don't see the confidence level that really was, that was at the forefront of Tiger, that he just bulldozed you. He had more confidence than you. He intimidated you. I don't see that. It's one thing to get healthier physically. Mentally, though, some guys never come back from that, though.
You're right. And the problem that happens in golf is that the injury just beats you down. I mean, he was experiencing definite pain since over a year ago, actually about a year ago, and we saw it at the Honda Classic about a year ago, and then at the WGC, and it just gradually got worse. And so what happens in that particular case is the physical limitations start bleeding into your technique and your mechanics. Your body starts to compensate, and golf's a very precise sport. Trying to get that club head on the ball and create a pretty straight shot is a difficult thing to do over 72 holes. And so the mechanical deficiencies leaked into his confidence, and then confidence leads into doubt, and then it's just a avalanche of doubt and second guessing after that. And that's kind of what we're seeing, this sort of culmination of physical scar tissue from his injuries, mental scar tissue from playing a lot of bad golf, and now confidence is definitely lower than it's been in a long time.
He's Notah Begay from the Golf Channel, former teammate of Tiger Woods, joining us, Dan Patrick's show. Is he too muscle-bound, Notah?
Definitely. Well, I would maybe if we had this conversation 6 or 8 months ago, but that was a discussion that we've had and his trainers had, that they were going to sort of try and tone that down. And he's about 8 to 10. Last time I talked to him, which was a few days ago, he was in the 180 to 85, and he was typically in the 88 to 92. So he's probably 6 to 8 pounds lighter than he was, which I think is going to be what you're going to see from here on out.
It just feels like he bulked up, that he wanted to look like, I liken it, he wanted to look like an athlete in a different sport, that he didn't want to have that typical build of a golfer, which can range from, Duffy Waldorf, Craig Stadler to, Patrick Reed. So how much does vanity play into this, that it's Tiger, how he does it, how he looks when he's doing it?
Well, I think Tiger's always considered himself an athlete as opposed to a golfer, and he tried to treat his approach to the game as an athlete would. He always sought out a lot of advice from, I know when he was at Stanford, he would regularly sit in Bill Walsh's office and just talk about certain elements of that. He would always talk to other athletes in other sports, and I think he always compared himself to the elite athletes in the game, and he tried to conduct his physical regimen in that fashion. And yeah, it probably did get a little bit out of hand at some points, but I've seen him win major championships at the sort of 88 to 90 range, and I've seen him win them in the 80 to 82 range. So I don't think that that's the crux of the issue here. I think it just has to do with what we originally were discussing, which is just confidence. I mean, any athlete, regardless of what sport you're playing, if you don't feel like you can go out there and beat the guy standing next to you, then you're already at a loss.
You have golfers who come up with excuses. Golfers are great. They can come up with an excuse, and there's really nobody there to kind of call them on it because it's their game. They're out there. Tiger said his glutes, failed him, whatever that means. But
I think it was the glutes weren't firing, Dan.
Oh, is that what it is? The glutes? I don't think I've ever heard an athlete say that my glutes weren't firing, Notah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that they just get Webster's is going to add that into the next rendition of the dictionary.
My glutes just weren't firing. I've used that excuse on NBC. Will his glutes fire again, though, Notah? I guess that's the question.
Well, I guess if that's the place we got to start at, we're way further behind than we originally thought.
Yeah, no pun intended. But when do we write off Tiger of being, and I don't even, he can't be what he once was, but even the reincarnation, when do we start to lessen our expectations of Tiger?
I think there's a tipping point that exists when the confidence wanes so much that it can't overcome the physical challenges of the game. So golf's very demanding. It's one of the most demanding mental sports, which is why it attracts so many athletes after they retire from the NFL or Major League Baseball or something else, because it's just a game that they really can't get their arms around. And at the highest level, it requires this semblance of physical talent and mental perseverance and just overall toughness, but above all, confidence to do what a Rory McIlroy is doing now, to do what Phil Mickelson did at times and Tiger Woods some 10, 12 years ago. But I think that if he can somehow get through this next hurdle and rediscover his short game, that really has to be the cornerstone of this next sort of evolution of his game, because the short game, for those that really don't play golf, it's your protection. Your short game protects you from errant tee shots. It protects you from errant approach shots, and it can help you get through a bad round, because you're always going to have a bad round or a challenging round in a 72-hole event. It just goes without saying. And if you don't have a bad round and you're on top of your game, you usually win the event by 4 or 5 shots. So it's inevitable that a player will have to rely on their short game at some point. And if that player, any player, regardless of Tiger Woods, whoever, doesn't have that basic protection mechanism in their arsenal, then they're going out there just very exposed, and the game will just undress you, as you've seen the last couple of weeks with Tiger Woods.
Did you ever think that he would be embarrassed like this on a golf course?
No, never. I mean, never. This was beyond my wildest expectations. But I tell you what, he had every right, and no one would have held it against him if he would not have played last week. But he stood up and he went back out there and continued to hit poor shots, and you could question whether or not he should have even played, but that's the kind of guy he is. He picked himself up from Phoenix and got back on the horse and tried to ride, and certainly there's some question marks around that, but I give him a lot of credit for getting back out there.
Can you see him taking another stretch off?
I can. I mean, he's in great condition, and if he can alleviate some of these preliminary recovery issues with his back and figure out that, you know what, he's not 30 anymore. You can't just go sit on the sidelines during a delay when it's 55 degrees and expect to warm up and get fluid again. You got to go through your whole routine, and those are the things that are realities for athletes, especially golfers, when they turn 40, and he's at 39. So if he were to take 3 to 6, 9 months off and come back at the age of 40, I think he'd still have 3 to 5 really good years in him. But this is a lot to overcome, Dan, even for Tiger Woods.
Could you beat Tiger right now, Notah?
Definitely. I mean, after what I play once a week now, but I know what it takes, and certainly I've actually asked him if he wants to go out and play a little bit. I can get some of that money back I lost in college.
Can you does he feel sorry for himself? Does he allow himself to feel sorry?
Not at all. I mean, this is sports. Sports is so unpredictable, and he understands his place in the game. He understands he's he's at an age where things just get a little bit harder physically. There's no quit in him, and certainly there isn't any apathy that he has for himself or his game. He's trying to find the best course of action to address this problem. And I've tried to be a friend through all this and give him good feedback. So hopefully he comes to a place where he can be at peace with it and move forward.
Most money you lost to Tiger in a round of golf?
Well, it's probably maybe about. He was hot that day, so about $1,500 bucks.
And
that was a lot back. That was when I didn't have any money, Dan. So.
Did he talk trash?
All the time. He never lets me free. I've gotten him a few times. Casey Martin won. We won a putting contest against him and the coach at Stanford, and Tiger wrote him a check to pay for it, and Casey never cashed it. Casey still has that check. I think it was for $150. He still has it in his office at University of Oregon. So when you get money from Tiger, you better keep it. But right now, I think they're lined up around the corner to play him.
Notah, safe travels. Great to talk to you again. Thanks for joining us.
All right, Dan. You have a good one.
That's Notah Begay, Golf Channel, former teammate of Tiger's at Stanford.